This is Andre Newendam, Senior Vice President of Operations. I am with Mike Brown, who is one of our AEs for the Northern region. And Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How you doing, Andre?
Awesome, I'm doing great. So I'm going to ask you a few questions here. I wanted you to tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been a loan officer, and what made you choose a financial services career.
Okay. So in regards to the loan officer, I was a loan officer for about a decade and then moved into more of a management role. I've been in the real estate industry for over 23 years. The reason why I chose financial services is as my career is because you can make a lot of money, you have a lot of flexibility, and you dictate on a daily basis how much you're worth rather than going to work at a bank per se and then give you a salary. Working for an individual company such as Obsidian, you have the flexibility to decide how much you're worth on how much you can help your loan officers originate and get them to be producing.
So what made you choose Obsidian?
Obsidian is because I actually used to own 3 offices back in before the Great Recession, and when that happened, we closed all of our branches, all of our offices, and we started working with the owner of Obsidian, and I've kept my relationship with him since then. In regards to Obsidian specifically, it's because of the flexibility and the ability to run your own team. You get a lot of privileges, but you also give a lot of responsibility, and I thrive in a situation like that.
That's awesome. So you've actually been one of the most successful account executives at Obsidian that we've had. So what's that like, and what do you bring to your loan officers to help them produce? I mean, you've got a lot of different types of loan officers that come to you that are new or experienced. You deal with a lot of different skill levels. So how do you do that every day?
So in regards to making someone a successful loan officer, I believe you don't reinvent the wheel. What's always worked, it will continue to work, and everything in life is about relationships, and business is just another example of that. So all of whether they're new or experienced, all of the loan officers need to have relationships with the people that they're working with. And if they're able to have that relationship flourish, then they're going to get more business because of that. So it doesn't matter if they're new or old. And obviously, if they're experienced, sometimes they come in with relationships already established and they can hit the ground running. For newer ones, it's just a matter of starting those relationships and making sure that they flourish, like I mentioned. So a couple of the things that would make real estate agents, which is the driver of the market right now, and if you don't have them, you're going to sink and you're going to not be successful, unfortunately, in this market. But the thing that drives real estate agents to want to work with somebody is A, can you close a loan? B, how fast you can close the loan, and making sure that you keep them updated along the way so there's no surprises or things of that nature a week before or the day before closing. So we have an incredible team here for the people that are on my team. We have an incredible team here at Obsidian because I have over 23 years of experience. The processor has over 25 years of experience, and the head underwriter has over 35 years of experience. That's a lot of weight behind a loan officer, no matter if they're new or old, or experienced or green. When they tell people that they're going to be working with, my team has over 80 years of experience, that carries weight. And also at Obsidian, we can get things done faster than your typical bank. We can get things, if we know that it's a timeline that we have to meet, then we get those, we meet those timelines. At a bank, you'd be expecting 30 days for underwriting or 45 to 60 days to close the loan. We just closed the loan last week or 2 weeks ago in 13 days. So we got a little luck with the appraisal and cleared all our conditions, and we had a cooperative client. So we're able to close that loan in 13 days. You can't do that at other places. Before When I had my 3 offices, we're all broker files. Now we're at the top of the food chain. We're correspondent lender, means we underwrite, process, and fund with our own money. There's not many places that you can get that right now. So that's another leg up that Obsidian has. And again, just going back to, it doesn't really matter if they're new or old. If they follow the guidelines or the map I put out in front of them, they're going to be successful because it works. It's been tested. It works. Now, there are some additional things that some of my new loan officers are doing, and that's advertising or using social media. That seems to be working for some of them, and that's just added bonus to getting out and meeting people. There's tons of places you can get referrals from right now. Again, real estate agents are driving that, but you can also go to a family law attorney who handles divorces. That's a good source of referrals if you build a relationship or you have a friendship with someone that is a family law attorney. CPAs, financial advisors, going to banks for turndowns. A lot of banks can't do anything for FHA that's 640 or lower. We can go all the way to 580. So as long as we get an approved eligible, I believe we'll even try a 560. But those are just examples of other places you can get referral sources. And we're not pinned in here at Obsidian. We can do a broad spectrum of different loan programs, credit scores, things of that nature. So those are a lot of the things that I go through with loan officers, new or old, and the ones that take the advice seem to be successful. And then again, they can add on to that success by using social media and things of that nature. I have a few that are being successful doing that.
That's awesome. So for anybody that's thinking about a career at Obsidian, what would you say to them? I mean, warts and all, pros, cons. What are some of the best things that you like about Obsidian, and what would you say would be something that would potentially make somebody think twice about starting a career with us?
So the pros, I would say, is basically goes back to what I mentioned in the last portion, which is you have an incredible team behind you. If you're on my team, you have somebody that's going to help you and be there for you. And then you also have years of experience. So if there's something that comes up, it's not like everybody doesn't know what to do. Like if I don't know the answer, I can go to the processor for its compliance, type concerns, or if it's an underwriting or approval question and I don't know the answer, then I can just send an email, pick up the phone, and talk to the head underwriter. Everybody here is here to do loans. They're not here to issue turndowns. Or if you send a file to a broker shop and it doesn't fit directly in their box, they're gonna decline the loan. We've experienced that. If there's a will, there's a way kind of type deal here at Obsidian. So if we're able to provide the documents that are required through the guidelines and we meet those guidelines, then we're able to close a loan. We're not looking for ways to turn down loans. We're looking for ways to do loans. Again, you have a ton of flexibility here at Obsidian. We'd like you to be producing within the first 60 days, but again, you're not left in the cold. You have a lot of resources. We have the hundreds of hours of training on the internet. You have me. You can email, text, send message in Teams or call and ask for questions. And we have other account executives just like myself that are there for assisting and for resource purposes. I like the relationships that I have here, and again, I like the being able to talk to the decision makers and getting an answer quickly rather than having to wait 48 hours, 72 hours for an answer. So those are some pros here at Obsidian. Cons, I meant there's cons to everything, but life is what you make of it. So I don't see those as large enough obstacles to even discuss.
Well, let me ask you this one question. One thing that we didn't talk about today is compensation, obviously. So, you wouldn't work here, obviously, if you don't make money. right?
Yeah.
So you've been a broker. I mean, you've worked with a lot of brokers before in the past, and you know, correspondent lending, obviously, there's a lot of differentiation and conversations about compensation. What would you say about compensation at Obsidian?
So we at Obsidian, we pay higher than I would say 90% of the places that I've seen in the industry. But there comes along with that some responsibility. If there's, you know, we're a correspondent lender, so we close the loan in our name and we have to sell it. If there's something that needs um, to be obtained after the loan closes, then we expect you to assist in doing that. So you get compensated more, but there are larger responsibilities. It's not for everyone, but anybody who wants to be able to close more loans is going to be happy in our business model. In regards to the conversations with, so let me back up. You have capability of being very flexible when you do loans here. You don't have to make 2.75 and be locked in a box like you do with a broker office. And if you don't meet that and you lose that loan because your rate's too high or your fees are too high, here, you know, if you do things through Obsidian, through the delegated channel, then you have the capability of lowering your fee, lowering your interest rate to get the business. You might not make 3% on the deal, but you have that capability and you're able to do the deal and still get something rather than nothing. The other thing I would say is that in regards to compensation, if you're not competing against another lender or a bank, you have the capability of making money on the front and back because we're a correspondent lender. And you would never have to tell the borrower that I'm making 2% on the back. They would never know unless you did tell them. And then you could charge, for example, have one loan officer that likes to charge $9.95 on every single transaction, in between $9.95 and $14.95 on every transaction, and that's what he tells his borrowers that's his fee. And as long as we're underneath the 3% total fee allowed by TRID, then we can do that. So you have the flexibility and the capability of charging on the front and the back, and you don't get hemmed into one particular rate, one particular product, like you would if you were doing broker loans. So I can tell you from past experience that I've had many conversations, and those conversations are not fun when someone sees that you made $5,000 on a $400,000 loan and they're upset with you because they don't think you should have made $5,000. Well, if you do things through our delegated channel, they never know how much you're making on the back, and those conversations completely go away. Just a little bit more on that. I don't think it's fair for someone to say when you spend 60 hours on their file that you shouldn't make a certain amount of money, but people do it. So when you do broker loans, that's what you're going to have that conversation. It might not be every file, but I can guarantee it's at least 60% of them. And if you're a producing loan officer, then imagine 30-minute conversations times, 5 loans a month. You're having a conversation with 3 people a month, 36 times a year. That's a lot of conversations about why are you making $4,000? Why are you making $5,000? And when you do through the delegated channel, those conversations completely dissipate. They go away because the only way that they would know how much money you're making on the interest rate is if you tell them. So
that's great. That's awesome. Well, Mike, I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time today. And if for anybody else out here that's looking, we definitely are expanding and growing. And you can see Mike is a very experienced person that works for the company. You could potentially have Mike as your manager. So we thank you for the time again, Mike, and have a great day.
My pleasure. Thank you.